Hello all and welcome to the second episode of Data Digital Digest. Today's episode you'll have me, Mallory Allred, walking you through a deeper analysis of one of our existing reports. As we structure these weekly conversations, the data team and I have decided that when we have a new dashboard to present or are sharing a new juicy bit of data news, that we'll come together as a team. But on weeks when we don't have a major update, we'll feature just one of our staff members taking a deeper dive into one of the existing dashboards that we have on Power BI. Today's dashboard that we're going to explore more deeply is the Daily Handshake Activity Report. This report is designed to track activity over the last 3 years since spring break. We're really trying to look at this report, the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on our students and their activity in Handshake. Today, I want to explore one page in particular with you. Since last week when we saw this report, it's already gone through several changes. I like to say that a dashboard is never dead. We are always trying to improve a dashboard and make it better. We're trying to gather feedback from our various team members, and even as we learn new things in Power BI, we like to make changes. So right now, I'm just going to reset everything to default, and as I said, this page already looks significantly different from how it looked a week ago. What this page primarily does is it compares student activity across majors and class years. Not majors, reporting programs and certain class years. So this report has several visuals. The first is a visual that compares different types of activity across the last 3 years. So we look at the number of students who have applied. Students who have applied are considered active. We look at the number of students who have logged in, and students who have logged in are considered engaged. And then we look at the total number of students. Now, in this report, a student can be counted as both active and engaged. We also look at a line chart over time, comparing the last 3 years of activity, and same thing with logins. This visual down here is showing you a count of the number of students enrolled in FY20 in class years and programs. This visual too can be really helpful to know which buttons you have selected so you can see what's going on. So we are going to look at the juniors today because I was exploring them a little earlier and was seeing some interesting things in the data. So you can see that when I click on the button that says juniors, I have this visual changes as well as some changes here. So I see a great jump right there, and I see a big jump there as well, which are 2 points of interest for me. That also is a point of interest, whatever went on Tuesday, March 31st, where we had a significant jump in the number of applications as well. So I can see, based on looking at this visual, that the junior class is feeling the effects of the pandemic, just as we all are. I can see that the percentage of students who are engaged has decreased, and now that decrease is right around 20-some students, but that still is a pretty interesting decrease for me to look at, especially when I consider that at this point in time, we have a pretty significant increase in the number of students who have been applying. So like I said, that creates some questions that I want to look at. So we'll get to this feature right here now. You'll see this on several pages. What it does is, now that we're at 60 days into the school closing, we have a lot of data to deal with. So you can select a certain number of weeks. So I am going to look at the last 4 weeks to see if I can find out what's going on with that junior class. And now I know that 4 weeks was a pretty good decision because I've got that hump right there. I also have a peak right there, and I have that peak as well. So I'm seeing the last 4 weeks of data, and I know that I'm still just looking at the juniors based on this visual right here, the table that's showing me. And so I can see that there is a massive increase in the number of unique applicants in this 4-week period. So that may lead me to ask some more questions as to what was going on, and I may want to engage in some deeper analysis to see what would cause that spike of applications. But from here, I can see that over the last 4 weeks, the junior class has really been ready to engage and ready to be active in their career search. So I can see that especially compared to the last 2 years. So whereas the last 2 years, the junior class began focusing on finals and probably making class decisions for their senior year, instead they've been deciding to focus on Handshake and look at something else. So that gives me some insight as to what is going on. We can also mimic this by program. So we are going to look at the college undergrads. So I can see I've clicked the button and it's just tracking now college undergrads for me. I'm seeing also these very marked peaks in activity, and once again, I'm seeing a pretty significant increase right on that April 29th period as well. So there is a lot of good news with the college undergrads. We can see that we have less engaged students, but once again, there are more active students, meaning that there are more students who are applying right now than there have been in the past few years. We can see if the same thing occurs, but I'm just going to look at the last week. And we just started our first day of a new week, so I'm going to include 10 in there. So I can see that there's a pretty significant increase in activity, especially as compared to FY 2019. And once again, I'm checking to make sure I just have college undergrads. And if you just want to look at students who are graduating, and for us that means seniors and our accelerated master's students, we can see their activity as well. So once again, I'm seeing kind of an interesting trend here where we have less students than normal who are engaged, and also we have less students than normal who are active. So that would be a pretty interesting thing for me to study a bit more, and I probably would want to explore those programs. So let's see if I look at the MSBA students, and they seem pretty comparatively engaged and active. MSA, there's a bit lower engagement, so that could be partly responsible. And then I'm also going to look at the MSM program. And there's where I'm seeing a pretty significant decrease in both engagement and activity. So that might be a point of concern or a place where I want to ask some more questions and reach out to some team members. So I'm going to reset everything. And thank you for giving me your time and attention during this Data Digital Digest. We'll be back next week to talk about some new exciting data updates. Thank you.